Today's episode is brought to you by the folks over at SeatGeek, the best and easiest to use ticket platform out there. They take the confusion out of buying tickets using a 0 to 10 scoring system and a green is good, red is bad color rating system so you and your loved ones get the best deal possible. So whether it's going to see our beloved Redlegs at Great American Ballpark, the Bengals over at Paycor, FC Cincinnati, one of the area college teams, or pretty much anything in between, use promo code Riverfront at checkout and receive $20 off your first order. Click the link in the show notes to download the app and get started. That's Riverfront, one word, for $20 off.
Hello, everybody!
What up?
That was really good, actually. That was really good.
I scare kids a lot.
You're a dad. You have to.
I'm a dad. I've got to scare kids a lot.
Absolutely. My name is Tim Daniel. His name is Ben Brown. And welcome to this week's edition of Late Night Reds, brought to you by our good friends here at the Riverfront and our lovely family at patreon.com/riverfrontfamily, where you can also be part of the fam. We got a really, really fun episode here today. I did not realize, so I made sure that we're taking off next week for the Bengals-Bills game. Did not realize tonight we were going up against an FC Cincinnati playoff game. Maybe should know that stuff. Maybe should know that.
Yeah. You know what? They're already up 2-0. People have clicked off. FC's already up 2-0. We're good. They're here watching us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hope so. Cool to see a Cincinnati team in the playoffs doing well, so that's nice. So we're rooting for FC Cincinnati to do their thing. I would love to be able to watch their games if it didn't consist of having to buy a subscription service and buy a subscription service inside a subscription service. But you know, we'll get there.
It's a little complicated. It is a little complicated.
But we're going to have fun with today. We're going to continue our positional series. We're going to get through the catcher position, which might be our easiest conversation yet as we go through these. And then we're going to have some Halloween fun by comparing Reds players to Halloween candy. And I've got some really, really good answers from the Patreon group. So pretty excited for that. But Ben, we'll start with the World Series. Is now one game apiece between the Rangers and the Diamondbacks. So the Diamondbacks put up a nine burger last night. I'll tell you what, man. I haven't been a chance to watch as much baseball playoffs as I'd like to. I also do admit that I like to take a little bit of a break. What up, Joey Goditza? Good friend here. Also gave some solid answers that we're going to read some of his off for our Reds candy Halloween comparisons. We haven't seen in a while. We haven't seen Pat in a while. Where's Pat?
Yeah.
Is he mad at us?
I hope not. Maybe he's in the off season too. Maybe he's taking a little off season siesta.
Yeah, I hope I didn't offend Pat. So if anyone can reach out to Pat Magooch and just let him know we still love him and we'd love to see him back, we'd appreciate it. But back to the World Series at hand. I know the whole conversation this week has been like this dumb thing, the continued tribalism of to do or not to do within the Reds fan base. But one thing that's really kind of sticking to me is when people are like, well, the Reds didn't have a Zach Gallen or a Corbin Carroll. And it's like, So don't try to make the playoffs because you don't have those guys. Is that what we're
Right.
saying here? But
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I really, really realized I missed. I miss not having a stupid ghost runner. That freaking game one when Garcia hits the walk-off. Oh my god, it was so nice. It goes to the 11th. Any stupid like random guy walking in the score to like end the game.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was
Yeah,
such a
that was
cool moment.
that was dope. That was dope. And that was also a very, very dope home run because I like it. Like when you see him hit it, I'm like, man, there's no way that's getting out. And I
I
mean, like
know.
it carried and carried. I was like, wow, that's pretty impressive. And that guy's been on fire in the playoffs. So
He was literally traded for a player to be named later by the Cardinals.
yeah, isn't that wild?
Literally, yeah,
Isn't
player to
that
be named later.
wild?
Unbelievable. Oh man. It's just so like the Cardinals have had this, and like I'm all for dogging on the Cardinals. That's not the theme of the show this week by any means. It could be the theme every week for all I care. But I just cannot believe just how many of these trades they've lost in like the
Yeah,
last 6 years. Like basically besides Goldschmidt and Arenado, every trade has sucked for them.
yeah.
Randy
And
Rosarena, Zach Gallen.
yeah.
Man.
Yeah, they've lost some pretty well, to them weren't key pieces, but became key pieces to other teams. And usually, and it kind of trends with the way the team is now, right? I mean, you trade away pieces, you're trying to think you're making a good move by trading away pieces. Now these guys have became very relevant, very good players for other teams, and your team is kind of not very good right now. So, is it due to the trades? And that's when we go back to the trade talk, right? Are you going to make your team better for now? Or are you playing for the future? Or what are you going to do? The trade game is a very, very unique game. I mean, sometimes it works out great. Sometimes you trade and you're getting a guy that's going to be an absolute stud, but sometimes that game don't work. I mean, as you see with the Cardinals, they traded away some key pieces. In the last 3 to 4 years, they've traded away some key pieces for, guys that have come to other teams and actually played really well. So, like, if they'd have stayed with the Cardinals, would they have matured as much as they did and done those things for the Cardinals or not? I mean, Cardinals finished in the basement of the Central this year. So, I mean, it's one of those games where you play that game and you hope that it works out. For them, it has not worked out so far, but you don't know how the draft picks or how the other farm players that they got or whatever's going to work out. But for now, it hasn't worked out very well for them.
No, it is not. And also, you hate to see it.
I can't say that it's a misfortune, but I can say it's a. I can't say that I'm not hurt by it. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
they've had enough good times there in St. Louis at
Yeah.
our misfortune. So
Right.
to see them have some misfortune, it kind of does my heart good.
Yeah. I'm glad I can see now. For some reason, my glasses are really fogged up. So we're back on track here.
It's because you're spitting hot fire right now.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Dylon.
Tylon.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Because I spit hot fire. How much for our audience do you think understands that reference?
Ooh, you know what? I would say, man, it probably about 30%, maybe 30%.
Yeah, I'd say it's fair.
I think that's a fair.
Yeah, I think it's fair.
So.
All right, so let's go ahead and continue our positional series. We're going to do the catcher position today, which is basically already set in stone for next season, but we are going to kind of dive into it. Obviously, not the best offensive duo that we expected, especially from one side of particularly this year. But Tyler Stevenson, obviously in arbitration, so you suspect the Reds are leaning on him being back next year. Luke Maile has already signed his extension to be back on the team next season as well. We've already talked about this, a handful of times. And when I show later what the catching free agency market goes, you're going to go, and if you don't know it already, you're going to go, okay, I get it. But this is kind of what you saw there. And let's go ahead and start with Tyler Stevenson. Can the Reds expect Tyler Stevenson to bounce back for 2024? This year, that 378 slugging was extremely disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
13 home runs, 56 runs batted in, 59 runs scored, only a 696 OPS, 87 OPS plus. He did catch 92 games. I remember at the beginning of the season, the game plan was that he was going to catch 3 games a week or something like that, and that was quickly went away.
Right.
But history shows that this was just a blip in the radar for him. His majority of his career in the majors, when he's been on the field and playing, he's been a very good hitter. I fully think that he'll bounce back next year. I'm not going to sit here and say like Tyler Stevenson's an all-star next year, that would be nice. But I do think he is more of that 275, 280, 760 OPS kind of guy.
No, I would agree with that. I think that this was kind of it was just like you said, a bump in the road for him as far as his career. I don't think that he was, I don't think that he was in a spot as far as him as being comfortable all year. I think he struggled with that. I know he had some injury issues as well. So, I mean, I think that there's some things there that kind of played a role in that. But I think that Tyler Stevenson, like you said, I think he's a consistent 275 to 280 hitter. I think he's got more pop than what he's shown. I could see him hitting over 20 plus home runs, and I could see him driving in more runs as well. So I don't think that I don't think that this is going to be an issue. And like you said, when you look at free agent catchers, or you look at other catchers that are out in the market, or you look at other catchers that we could have, I'm okay with leaning on Tyler Stevenson and giving him another opportunity this next year to prove that he's a better player than he was this past year.
I completely agree. So career-wise, 272 hitter. Look,
Yeah,
he's had 4 years in the big leagues, and granted, one of them was 2020 where he played 8 games. One of them was 2022 where he played 50 games.
mm-hmm.
He doesn't even have 1,000 at-bats yet. He's got 998 still. So,
Really?
yeah. This year was the most homers he's hit at 13. 2021, his last full season, he hit 10. Was really, really good that year.
Yeah.
Had an OPS that year of 797. 2022 was 854. So I think, like you said, maybe just kind of getting comfortable again with his shoulder. And
Mm-hmm.
I spoke with this when I was on lockdown a couple weeks ago. Our conversation was about the catchy roll. And I think that just kind of getting comfortable again with using your shoulder. I mean, like I said, he played 50 games in 2022.
Yep.
So getting that, I don't want to say like getting that consistent movement again, but still, I mean, I broke my collarbone when I was like 10. And granted, I'm not a major league catcher, but I remember how many times, anytime someone got close to me, I went like this to kind of.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine what it's like as a big league catcher.
Yeah. And the catching position is so physically demanding.
Yes.
It's a lot, man. You're blocking balls, you're dropping down, you've got to read runners, you're trying to read pitchers, you're trying to keep up with strike counts, who's where, outs, the catching position is so not only mentally straining, but it's also physically straining. So if you're not 100%, or if you're not fully comfortable with your body after coming off a shoulder injury, it takes some time. I mean, I think shoulder rehab is probably by far the worst rehab that you can have as an adult. I mean, every person I've talked to that's had a shoulder injury has said it's brutal. So I mean, it's getting comfortable with that again, and getting comfortable with being in that position that's so physically demanding every single night, or 3 out of or 4. Well, I guess he's probably more 4 or 5 out of 7 nights for him. So I don't think that that's the norm. I think a full off season will help him a ton. I think that getting his body back to where he wants his body to be will help a ton. And I think that having this is going to sound weird, but I think knowing that Luke Maile is going to be there, a guy who can consistently give you decent at bats when you need to take a day off helps, because I think that it gives you that opportunity to fully rest and know that the job's just not going to fall off because you have your backup playing that day. So all those things will kind of play into him being a better player next year.
Here's why I still believe in Tyler Stevenson. All right, this is like a extremely small sample size blip on the radar kind of thing. So I know this could be used against me. These are his numbers this year when he pinch hit.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty solid. 353 batting average, 421 on base, 824 slugging, 2 home runs, 3 runs batted in, 2 walks. Now, albeit very, very short sample size, but something's still there.
Mm-hmm.
So I still believe very much in him. I was trying to find his, I know he was hitting lefties really, really well for stretches this year.
Yeah.
I think the Reds as a whole were probably crushing lefties,
Yeah.
but
I can't believe that you threw out the under 1,000 at bats for his career. I had no idea. I thought he had, but then again, he played 8 games and then he got hurt last year. So I mean, like, yeah, that makes sense. He's under 1,000 at bats. I mean, that was kind of a shocking stat to me. I thought he had well over that, but that makes sense.
yeah, I think defensively we know what he is, right? We're
Mhm.
not expecting him to go out there and be Pudge.
No.
Um,
Mm-mm.
but I think that there were stretches where he was pretty good behind the plate this year.
Mhm.
He's not the best catcher at framing pitches, but I also think pitch framing should be illegal anyway. I don't know how you feel about it. You can disagree with me, and I'm completely willing to hear your conversation about it. But I think it's the stupidest thing when someone like
Yeah,
catches it or like,
yeah.
come on.
I think there's an art form to it. Some people are really good at it, but when you see somebody that's not very good at it, is when it gets ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah. Like, which we're gonna talk about Luke Maley here in a second. But like Tyler Stevens, when he like catches something up like in the top quarter and he like brings it in real quick, you're like,
Yeah.
buddy, like,
Yep.
and
And that's completely reactionary. As a catcher, you've been taught that since you were like 5 years old to frame pitches. So like
right,
even if it's way out of the zone, he's like, it's still there. You're like, nah, nah, we're good. It's off.
right, yeah. But I'm excited to see how he bounces back because I don't see
Yeah.
the Reds trading for a catcher by any stretch and moving on from
Mhm.
him. So let's go to Luke Maley real quick. Obviously, when we're pulling these numbers out, they're not necessarily the sexiest numbers,
Mm-mm.
but as a good friend Joe Farfsing, who hosts the Bengals show, likes to point out quite a bit, the fact that Luke Maley and Tyler Stevens had the same OPS plus is fascinating to me. We talked about this obviously. Luke as a backup catcher, as a defensive catcher, is tremendous, and he's been that
Mhm.
way everywhere he's gone between Tampa, Cleveland, Toronto, and now here. I know he played for the Brewers for a short time, and he hit really well in that small sample size he had
Mhm.
there, but this year was kind of one of those things where, no, I'm not going to go in here and boast that he was this great hitter by any stretch. The numbers are here: 235, 308, 391, 699 OPS, 6 homers, 25 runs batted in. Did steal 2 bases. Loco Luke with a little wheels
Okay,
action.
with some wheels.
Yeah, I like it. But seemed like his hits were always when they needed something,
Mhm.
always when it was like a really big situation. I referenced a couple weeks ago the Cleveland game when they were still in the playoff hunt. That first night, he had 3 hits, including a huge home run.
Yeah.
When the Reds really were still trying to get these wins to kind of still stay alive in the playoff chase. But there's things about him I really love. I think he calls a great game, obviously. You could see when guys like Andrew Abbott had him behind the plate, just how comfortable they were with him.
Mhm.
I love his attitude. So there was that game this year where he threw the guy out stealing second, and you heard him on the microphone go, "You like that shit? You like that shit?" I do like that shit, Local Luke. I do
Yeah.
like that shit.
Yeah.
I dig that stuff, man. And I
Yeah.
think that he's got he's the perfect. I don't know. I don't say he's Crash Davis by any
No, he's a
means.
pro's pro, man.
Yeah.
He's a guy that goes out and he's a pro's pro. He goes out and does his work. He's very good at what he does, and he knows what he is. I mean, he knows that he's a guy that's backing up a starter, but he's able to go in. He makes pitchers comfortable. He gets timely hits at timely times. He just does what he's supposed to do. Like the pitchers on the staff are very comfortable when they have him behind the plate, which is what
Yeah.
you want. And the guys on the infield are comfortable when he's behind the plate because he's doing everything that you're asking him to do because he's a pro's pro. He's a guy that's a veteran. He's been in a lot of clubhouses and he's caught a lot of pitchers. So he knows those things and those tricks to the trade that make people comfortable being around him. So I would like we texted before. Like I was ecstatic when they signed him back
Me
because
too.
I think that he is a good veteran catcher that knows his role. He's a clubhouse leader. He's a guy that can work with all types of pitchers because he's been all over, and you could see it. The guys are comfortable with him behind the plate.
Yeah, absolutely. I also want to say what's up to Kylo who popped in the chat. What up, Redheads? Good to see you, my friend.
What's up?
What up to you as well? Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with him. I love he's part of this team. You know, I'm not expecting him to have some breakout offensive season next year by any stretch of the matter, but I'm just going to say if the Reds have a no-hitter again next year, I know who's most likely behind the plate when someone throws it.
Yep.
I think Sonny Gray and Luke Malu make a great tandem.
I sure would.
Yeah. Right?
You're not lying about that.
Yeah. So Minnesota, back off, okay?
All right.
I'm
You
sorry.
don't need him.
Yeah, I'm sorry
No
that
way.
Spencer Steer and Christian Carlson ended up awesome, and you guys traded us to him for a guy who got injured. But back off, okay? We need him back.
Right.
Yeah. Man. Real quick, so it's touching it because it's on the pair. But what happens with the Kirk Casale option? So Kirk Casale has a mutual option for $2.5 million for next year. If they decide to not, no one's one of the two decides not to pick it up, the Reds owe a $750,000 buyout. Kirk Casale only had 80 bats last year, all season. His last game he had in a bat was June 24th against the Braves, the night after the 11-10 game.
Right.
I like Kirk Casale. I wasn't against bringing him in when the plan was what it was. Stevenson's going to catch a few games and he's going to play first base and he's going to DH. But when they went away from that, there was no need for it.
Right.
Well, we have these conversations every week about, well, why shouldn't they keep Joey? They carried 3 catchers. That's crazy. Which we're not going to get into that. Not trying to bring that in here, but I'm just saying there's no need to bring him back. And it's not a thing against him. I think his first run with the Reds, he was really good for what he was, especially, backing up Mesoraco. You can see, he's been a player. He's been a vet. He's been a player's player. He's been a pro everywhere he's been, whether it's Seattle, San Francisco, here. But there's no need. And fill the roster spot for one of these other young dudes that you're super excited about. And, yeah.
Yep. I agree. I think that go ahead and buy him out and open up a roster spot for one of the studs that you want to bring up or do whatever you need to do, but no need to carry 3 catchers.
Yeah. Buy out the roster spot for Teoscar Hernandez for next year.
There you go.
Yeah. We'd all like that. We'd all like that. Yeah. Here's the organizational catcher death this year. For those who are watching along, I'll read the names off. It's a little hard to read on the slide, but for those who are listening, I guess you'll hear it too. Daniel Vellahan, Chucky Robinson. Chucky Robinson has been like the darling of like Reds media, minor league fans because he had a really good year in Louisville. He might be a 4A guy, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I don't, his first stint obviously in the majors obviously wasn't the most impressive on a 100-loss team, so you can't really hold that against him as well. Matthew Nelson, the former Florida State catcher, caught for the Chattanooga this year, so had a little bit of time to kind of get into that higher level. Probably, I'd say the next guy up, I don't know what the future is for Eric Yang and Daniel Vellahan. Kate Hunter, Logan Tanner, obviously we're in Dayton this year for the Dragons. Connor Burns, Jackson Miller, those guys are kind of doing some time as well with Daytona. But the name everyone's excited about is Alfredo Duno. He was signed as a international free agent in January this year. Had a lot of people really excited, really impressed with him, but was spending most of his time in rookie ball this year or in the complex league and things like that. So I think as excited as I am for the future of Alfredo Duno, it looks like we're probably 3-4 years away from Alfredo Duno.
Yeah, we've got some time.
Yeah.
We've got some time.
Do want to point out I can never get this guy's name right, but Michael Troutwine, I think it's the closest I'm going to get. Is in the Arizona Fall League, current Reds catcher, but the depth isn't the sexiest. But what I'm about to show you is that is the catching position in baseball right now. So Tyler Stevenson at this down year was a top 10 hitting catcher in baseball still. I mean, there's no
here's a question for you. what has happened to the catching position? I mean, of course, we all remember guys like Pudge, and there's some other really good catchers. Like, I wonder why that position has had such a drastic like drop off. Like, why offensively we haven't seen like I guess the offensive, not really juggernaut, but offensive good players at the catcher position. I wonder what happened to that, because the catcher position become really like not really mediocre, but they're not. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird. I don't know.
I'm with you, man. Well, if you think about let's think about the 2010s. So Joe Mauer, Buster Posey,
Yeah,
when those guys started getting hurt, it was like, all right, you guys are gonna play first base.
yeah,
And you kind of saw that quite a bit. Like it was like it's a weird. Let me look real quick because I don't have it off the top of my head. I'm trying to figure out who the All-Star Game catchers were this year. MLB All-Star Game 2023. So yes, I know the National League won. Don't care about that. That's not what I'm looking for. Great content we have here right now. I know. All right.
We're on a search right now. We're
Sean Murphy. Sean Murphy's really, really good. I'm not upset about that.
Yeah.
For the Braves, started for the National League. Reserves were Elias Diaz and Will Smith. Good players. Will Smith was really good this year. I believe Elias Diaz might have been All-Star Game MVP, if I remember correctly. And then in the
American League was Salvador Perez and Jonah Heim.
And Adley. Adley's phenomenal.
And
Adley's unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, that might be the 6 best catchers in baseball. And after those 6, there is a drop off.
And Salvador Perez, 255. 255 with 23 home runs and a 714 OPS.
You get that Albert Pujols treatment to get elected to the All-Star Game.
Right, exactly.
You're a legend, so we're gonna let you in.
Right. And I know Haim was hurt actually most of the year.
Yeah.
A lot of the year, but I mean, he batted 258 with a 755 OPS. I mean, 18 home runs, 95 ribbies, but like I said, he was hurt a lot of the year too, because he was on my fantasy league team.
Yeah. So basically, it's Adley Rutschman, everybody. Adley Rutschman, Sean Murphy, and everyone else.
And everybody else, yeah.
Yeah. No disrespect to Will Smith, he's very good, but he's just not on those guys' level by any stretch of the matter. So, which brings me to when people go like, "Well, how can you upgrade the position outside the organization?" You can't.
Yeah.
So here's the free agent catchers market this year. Mitch Garver, what he's doing in the playoffs, I would bet more than imagine the Texans is going to bring him back. Right. Gary Sanchez, who pitched for 3 teams this year, no thanks. Austin Hedges, we already have Luke Mailey.
Yeah.
Yasmani Grandal, no. Tom Murphy, Victor Caratini, Martin Maldonado. I'm good, fam. I'll roll with what we got.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
I definitely agree.
Just not a deep position. It's weird.
It's not a very deep position.
Yeah. But I think that if you're the Reds, and I don't think Sean Murphy is going to become available. I don't know. Maybe they can swing something with the Rockies for Elias Diaz if they really do want to upgrade it. But how much better is he than Kyler Stevenson currently? I don't necessarily know if it's the Coors effect. And I'm not saying he's not better. So for people, it's if people want to be like, you're crazy. That's not my intent. Let me pull him up real fast. Okay. Literally. Same power numbers. And he plays in Coors Field.
Yeah.
So, granted, he had a 725 OPS. So that's definitely a little better than what Stevenson did. But for his career, I mean, he's been worse than Stevenson majority of his career. His time in Pittsburgh, he was not good at all.
Yeah.
So, give me what we got. I'll roll with it and see what happens.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right. Well, Ben, it is our segment of the week. I just had to get some Halloween
I liked
music.
it. I'm with it. I'm with it.
We're going to do something very big here, and this is just the most important segment in the history of late night Reds, obviously. Comparing the Reds players to Halloween candy is going to be our theme for this week's big episode. And I did get some great ones from our Patreon fam that I can't wait to read. But I also want to kind of get our own in this as well. So how this is going to work is I'm going to bring up a player on a slide. And
Okay.
Ben and I are going to have a conversation about what candy would we say they are. Now, do we do a thing where like you go first, I go first? Do you like, and we rotate? How do you want to do this?
Yeah, we'll go. You go first, I go first, and then we'll rotate.
All right. And if you say you agree, if one of us says we agree, we'll keep it there.
Sounds perfect.
All right. And we're going to start with Matt McClain. And for me, Matt McClain's a good old solid Reese cup. Never lets you down. Always solid. And you're never not in the mood to see it succeed.
You know what? In that theory, I have the same thought. But to me, that is a Twix.
Oh!
Never lets you down. It's always good. And it comes through in the clutch.
I like
Matt
it.
McClain, Twix bar for me.
Have you had the Twix bites yet from Papa John's?
No.
Game changer.
What?
Game changer. Game changer.
Twix bites. Add that to the list of foods to eat this week.
Yeah. So Grace ordered Papa John's tonight as like to surprise me. And she was like, by the way.
I love Papa John's, by the way.
Yeah, I did too. We got the jack-o'-lantern pizza. So
Okay.
solid. Yeah.
Nice.
Not disappointed. So I dug it.
Yeah.
I dug it. Yeah.
Good deal.
Let me see. Do we have a Matt McClain in the Patreon group just to make sure I don't leave anyone out? Nope. All right. So we got her settled on our Matt McClains. I go Reese. Oh, no, we did. Brandon Kamek, good friend of the show, says McClain is Nerds Gummy Clusters. New, came out of nowhere, and surprisingly good. So we went the chocolate route.
Yeah.
He went the sweet route.
I like that.
I don't disagree. They are very solid candy. So
yes, it is.
Perfect.
One of my, that's top 3 in my household.
Yeah.
Nerd clusters. Fam loves it.
Ball game. All right. Spencer Steer. So you start this one off.
Spencer Steer for me. To me, Spencer Steer was a Butterfinger.
Okay.
Solid all the way around. Crunchy in the middle, which means he's tough. And just a good foundational solid candy bar.
Okay. I like it. I went with a Kit Kat because a Kit Kat you can break off into 4 different spots, right?
I like that. Yes.
Spencer Steer played 4 positions this year.
Yes, he did.
So
yes, I like that.
Yeah, but I'm not disagreeing with yours. Sydney, good friend of the show, said Spencer Steer is a Reese's because you can always come back to it. You know what you were getting.
There you go. I like that.
That's a good analogy.
That.
All right. Here's the classic. Joey Votto. Oh, he's a Hershey bar. Just a classic, always reliable, always delicious. Has stood the test of time. Come on now.
My same reasoning, but I went Snicker because it's good and it's nutty in the middle, and he's got a little bit of nutty in him. I love Joseph, and Snicker bar is a classic. Like it's to me is Snicker bar to me is my absolute favorite candy bar. But yeah, that's Joey Votto. He's a classic. I mean, he's got that sweet nougat in the middle, but he's got a little bit of nutty in him.
I like it. Timmy Albedness from our Patreon, which I'm really sorry if I don't say your last name correct there, sir, says Joey Votto and Will Benson are nerds because they're so good at chess.
Oh, there you go.
I like it. This is going to be a fun one that you get to start with.
All right.
Ellie De La Cruz.
My man Ellie is probably one of my favorites. He's a Sour Patch Kid man.
I had the same thing.
Did you? Yes. Dude, he's got multiple facets, multiple flavors. He gives you sour. He gives you sweet. Dude, Ellie De La Cruz is a Sour Patch Kid all the way. Yes, sir.
Sydney was in the chat. She's at the FC game tonight, so that's not what she's talking
Oh,
about.
yeah. Yep.
She said Ellie is Skittles. It's either amazing or trash. And my question to that is, when are Skittles trash?
Never.
Never.
Skittles always come through.
Yes, I agree. I agree. All right, so I get this one here to start out.
Yes, sir.
Hunter Green.
This
is a tough one.
That is a tough one.
I'm gonna go with some Mike and Ike's because it's always bringing the heat, baby.
Oh, I see. I'm with you, and I went hot tamales.
Oh,
because he's always bringing the heat, and I went hot tamales.
I like that.
So we were on the same page. I mean, it's there. It's there.
Definitely on the same page there. So I definitely dig that one. All right. Who we got next? All right. Alexis Diaz.
Now, see me, Alexis Diaz, something that has always come through for me and his money and it's one of my favorites. 100-gram bar, baby.
Oh,
he's always money, baby.
That's facts.
He's always money.
I like that. That's good. I went with the York peppermint patty because when you go to Skyline, you finish your meal, you go check out. It's sitting right there on the counter for you. Nothing better to finish off than a York peppermint patty and Alexis Diaz in the 9th inning.
Yes, it is. I like that.
I think you won that one, but that's awesome. So I'm gonna read some of the ones of players we didn't have listed because I do want to get to them because they're funny.
Yes.
Brandon Kamick, Derek Law, and Buck Farmer, Almond Joy, and Mounds. They're terrible, but they always seem to be in the mix. Bravo.
Kudos.
Good friend Joey Gaditza. Ian Jubot is like a jawbreaker. Starts off sweet, turns sour after the Canley shell is gone, and then when you bite into it, it ends up hurting you a little.
Yes, it does. That's awesome.
Fantastic. We got a couple from Rex Scott, good friend Rex. Phil Castellini is a 0 bar because that's how much regard and respect Reds fans have for him.
Okay.
Yeah. Rex Scott also said Ian Jubot is the Hershey bar because you get one at every damn house when trick-or-treating.
It's true.
You led the league in appearances this year. Mike Perry says this offseason is payday because the Reds have plenty to spend in free agency. I like that, Mike.
Amen.
I like that.
Yes.
So since Mike had that comment, we got to play. I hear Dion's got to bring some, and must be the money of NIL money to Colorado to get an offensive line.
Listen, he better drop his own personal bank account on some offensive linemen. He wants to keep his kid upright.
I was gonna say
that was a massacre.
Yes, it was. Joey Gaditza again. Luke Weaver was like a Tootsie Roll. It's a last resort and isn't very good.
Touche.
Yeah. And then we got a couple on Twitter from our good friend, good friend, John Elsky, who says, we got to find it again. Where is it? Some bitch. I had it for, come on now, phone, really let me down. I'm in the wrong account. That's why. God, don't run 3 Twitter accounts, people.
Dude, it's hard.
Yeah. So he says, Luke Weaver was the apple that your parents made you take from the nice lady down the street, but you threw it away 4 months later. That's fantastic.
That's awesome.
And he ended it, and I think this is the perfect place to end it. Ricky Karcher was the mystery warhead.
Yes. Oh my God. You win, sir. You win. That was awesome. That was awesome.
That was a fun segment, actually. That was a blast. I'm so glad we did that. So we got we're way under time, so we'll obviously cut this early today. But we have time for me to ask you this important question because I know I've known you for a long time.
Yes, sir.
I'm lucky to say that you're one of my best friends. You've been there for all of my major moments in my life.
Absolutely.
So me knowing you very well, I can ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
What day is it acceptable to put your Christmas decorations up?
Oh. Now listen here. Now I'm gonna go. This is a long. I got to make this story short, but it's long, but it's short. So one, my wife decides all that now. So well, as you know, as a married man, you will
Hmm.
stop deciding, making those decisions, and you will be told when your stuff goes up.
Hmm.
So when we first got married, it had to be after Thanksgiving because I was like, all holidays get their due respect, blah blah blah. As the years have gone by, that day is starting to become closer and closer to Halloween. Now, I won't put it up before Halloween, but I would be shocked if my wife doesn't pull our Christmas stuff out the first week of November.
I am.
That, yeah, that's so Halloween will end this Tuesday. I would say, well, she's got to go out of town this weekend, but I would say by the next Monday or Tuesday, I will be pulling Christmas boxes out of my basement. No doubt.
Yeah. So I put mine up the first week of November every year. And for people who say like, why you're crazy. With all the college basketball coverage I was doing there
Mhm.
in like 18 and 19, when I was like gone I
Thick
wasn't
in it.
home 4 nights a week.
Mhm.
I had it up for just when I was home. I could put it on. I could sit in my house. I can enjoy
Yep.
it. So obviously this year I've significantly cut down my schedule. Thankfully, we brought people on who can help with that schedule. But I'm still putting it up probably this upcoming weekend.
Yeah.
Um, now that Grace is working again, we're both not as home as much. So it's like one of the few
Right.
times we're both gonna be home together.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
you've got the extra hands around the house.
Yep.
Uh,
No, yeah. And I'll tell you what too, with you now having a daughter and having kids, like being able to set up Christmas stuff for a longer period of time becomes more important because the kids love it. I mean,
yeah.
the tree is up, we start putting gifts out like one or two at a time, kind of from us. Then, it's good, man. It's good for the soul. It's good for your kids. They have fun with it. And like I said, my wife, she would put it out today if she could. If she was like, yeah, I'd put it out today. So
Yeah. I'm the same way as your wife. So, all
yeah.
right. Other question, and then I promise we'll wrap up from here.
Oh no.
When is the acceptable time to play Mariah Carey's "All I Want for Christmas Is You" for the first time in this season?
I it'll that one will come out probably the week of Thanksgiving. That's when I'll first flip on the dial for all my Christmas music. So it'll be leading up. So like the 18th, 19th, somewhere in there is when we'll start kicking and I'll listen to Christmas music from that day until January 1st.
Yep.
That's all I'll listen to.
Yep. I get the Christmas vinyls out right away. Can't wait.
Dude, I got them
Um,
all. My Jackson 5 Christmas,
oh, dude.
Mariah Carey Christmas, Carrie Underwood. I got them all, man. I got them all lined up, ready to roll.
Yeah, that would be a fun draft episode we should do during the holiday because
Ooh.
our favorite Christmas albums.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll have to. Go ahead and mark that down. That's going to be that'll be a good one because there are some good, sneakily good Christmas albums out that
Yeah.
people probably have not even listened to or heard that are really good.
Shout out the GOAT, Bing Crosby. Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
That's a phenomenal one. Nat King Cole's another one that's a phenomenal Christmas
the
album.
legend, Darlene Love.
Yes. Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
oof,
Yep.
this is gonna be
There
a
are
fun
some
one.
great ones out there.
Yeah. But with that being said, we probably should go ahead before we get out of control here and wrap up this week's edition of Late Night Reds. Next week, we do dive into the first base conversation. And I'll tell you, I don't know if I've dreaded doing one more than that because I know what the reaction is going to be.
Dude, you already know.
Oh, wait. 2 weeks. We're off
2
week.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. Yeah, we're off next week. Yeah. So 2 weeks. Yeah. But we'll have 2 weeks to dread it.
Yeah. Great. Looking forward to it.
So we can marinate on it for an extra week.
Yeah. Here's what's going on this week around the riverfront. So if you are checking out front, you obviously, myself, Ryan Roberts, we're all doing some great work over there. last Friday's NBA Friday was really, really fun. Our flashback was diving into Magic Johnson's return in '96, and we did our all-time basketball video game draft, which is a really, really fun segment. This week coming up, our flashback segment is going to be when Shaq got traded to the Heat. Cannot wait to dive into like everything that happened then, and our draft is going to be the all-time GOATs draft. So try to draft your all-time starting five.
Ooh. That'll be fire.
You want to come through Thursday before? I know you got a game Friday, but
I was going to say, I'll have to check my schedule, dude. I may pop on.
Nate's trying to pop on too. We might get to go all out here.
I may pop on that one.
Perfect. And then tomorrow, actually, well, the day that this is going up, if you're listening to this on the podcast feed, please subscribe to Riverfront U. I have an awesome interview I did with my friend, Miami of Ohio head basketball coach Travis Steele. We talk all about Miami of Ohio and their upcoming season. I didn't get into any Xavier conversation because I didn't think it was necessary.
Yep.
But Trav's a great dude, one of my favorite humans in the world that I get to chop it up with. So really fun there. Check out Joe Farfsing and Greg Neiman over on the Riverfront Bengals show, celebrating the Bengals on a 3-game win streak after taking care of business in San Fran today.
You know who somebody got healthy?
Woohoo!
Somebody got healthy.
But he was scrambling.
Dude, he was scrambling, running around, talking mess. Dude, you could see the swagger just come back to him. You're like, yep, somebody's healthy.
Shicey's back. Back.
Yep, he sure is.
And then, of course, every Friday, check out The Riverfront with Chad and Nate here on this particular feed. Chad had our friend Bill Lack, the Godfather, on this week, and they had a really, really fun show. So check that out if you haven't already. But we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thanks, everyone, for contributing and hanging out. We always love the interactions here. Like we said, we won't be here next week. We're going to enjoy Bengals Bills Sunday Night Football, but the week after we'll be back. That will be November 12th.
Yep.
Is when we'll be back on the air. So thank you guys. Have a good night, and we will see you all very soon.